Be 18 or older to attend.
The Experience Pros Radio Show, home of the original Fan Braggin' Fridays. Take just 20 seconds to become a business revolutionary by sharing a Fan Braggin' story of great customer service by using the hashtag FanBrag or calling the Fan Braggin' hotline at 855-FAN-BRAG, FANBRAG. Now back to Angel and Eric, the Experience Pros.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Experience Pros Radio Show. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us for ours. Oh boy, I'm excited.
I am super excited as well. We have with us Heather Schooler. She's the owner of the Money Library. She gives entrepreneurs an extreme makeover, showing them how to identify and close the process gaps that are costing them time and money in their business. She is the expert. She's worked with Forbes, America's largest private company. She's also the author of the newly released book, The Money Library Volume 1, Living Great on What You Make. Heather Schooler, welcome to Experience Pros.
Well, thank you for having me.
Heather, it is fantastic having you, and we're just thrilled to talk to you today. Listen, we're going into the holiday season, and during the holiday season, we tend to get into the end of year taxable type of conversation, and you recommend considering charitable giving. Why should we give?
Absolutely.
Why should we give to charity?
Well,
I think that there are people out there who just have causes that they believe in,
and when you can't always support a cause by volunteering or participating. So one of the ways that you can is by charitable giving. And this is the best time of year to do that because this is the season of giving.
You know, and I think about that from my business point of view, so much of what we write off already, for expenses is taxable. Are there any special legalities or rules that we need to think about in our corporate charitable giving?
Well, the one thing you want to make sure is that the place that you're giving to is actually designated as a charitable organization by the IRS, because there's a lot of groups out there that you can give to, but if they don't have that designation,
then you're not allowed to take that as a tax deduction.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Hold on, Heather. Eric Raymer's pizza fund is
I can't donate to that.
What'd you just do to me? You just threw me under the bus, sister.
The IRS is very clear about stuff like this, aren't they?
Absolutely. And if you want to give to a cause that's not a
501c3
or
designated charitable organization, that's great. And just
can't deduct
that during tax time.
Heather, are there levels to which we have to? You can only donate this much to a certain organization, and then we can go to another one. Or once you've given $5,000 to any organization, your taxable deduction is done for the year. Did that make any sense?
That makes
perfect sense.
And
I'd like to say that there's not necessarily a level of giving,
but you
want to make sure that your level of giving doesn't exceed your level of income, if that makes sense. So you want to keep it to a certain percentage if you're looking for the tax deduction, because once you exceed that percentage, then you no longer can get the tax deduction for that.
Okay, and how do we find out about that? Do we have to check with our accountant for those percentages? Does it vary, or is that information online at the IRS, the lovely IRS website?
It is available from your
accountant or IRS.gov. It does vary based on your income level, so you would have to verify that based on whether it's business or individual giving.
We're talking with Heather Schooler. She's the owner of the Money Library, giving entrepreneurs an extreme makeover. If you have some gaps in your processes that are costing you time and money, you probably don't even know about it. She's like a little sleuth. She comes in with her little what do you call that, magnifying glass, right? she's done this for Forbes 500 list, America's largest private companies.
Our listener, Eric Hunsberger, says he would be happy to donate to the Eric Rammer Taco Fund.
I bet he would. A lot of people would. Okay, so Heather, it is that time of year. I think we're kind of shoring up our books. We want to make sure that we're giving back to the community. I know sometimes charities are just, we keep seeing things in social media that not very much of it goes always back to. A lot of it's covered in administrative costs. How do you find out if it's really going back, that they're going to spend my money wisely?
Well, one of the ways to do that is to actually check on the charity's website, because they actually should publish how much for each dollar goes towards that individual charity
versus administrative expenses.
And
okay.
I always think for a charity that's in the 90s, so at least 90% of every dollar goes back to the charity.
Which is kind of an interesting thing, Heather, because that means that the charity is operating on a less than 10% operating cost. And if any one of us in the business sector were, put in the spotlight of that, we could say, no, wait a minute, we need 90% of our income. So it's a different operating model altogether, right?
It is, absolutely.
It is, absolutely, because they really operate off of administrative expenses,
people to pass the money on or to make the purchases for the food, but they're not necessarily doing things like other businesses would do that would cause them to have the larger expenses. So that minimize their expenses through just having a designated staff that goes towards providing all of the services, and through that staff, they're able to keep their costs down.
Well, Eric says, wow, check on the charity's website. Great advice. Yep. Eric, you are right. Heather is full of great advice, and she knows her stuff. Heather, are there any things that we should be on the lookout for as we're writing those big checks to our charities this year? Anything that we need to just be aware of?
Well, one of the things I like to look for, and this is not just this time of year, but any time of year, is if someone is offering a matching gift, because a lot of times large donors will offer a matching gift and you're able to immediately double giving, because as soon as you donate, that person will match it with the exact same amount. So that would be one thing I would look for. And then another thing I would look for would be to understand, if the charity is having specific needs. A lot of times, some of the charities that I give to actually send out holiday books that tell you what their specific needs are for the holidays. So then you can get them exactly what they need for the people that they are giving to over the holidays.
Yeah, lots of different ways to do that. Now, Heather, you just sparked a thought in my mind. Do in-kind gifts still qualify for deductions?
They do, but you have to be a little careful about that and make sure that when you're giving something in kind, so if you're donating furniture or an old television set or something of that nature, wherever you're donating it, make sure that you document what you've donated and get a receipt for that.
My tax accountant, I wanted to donate something. He says, you've already taken the tax write-off for that, Angel, once. You can't take it twice. I'm like, right. Oh, good to know.
And Angel keeps trying to get her nails tax deductible, Heather.
I do. I need a charitable outlet for my nails. You've got some great stuff, great ways that you help and you work with your clients, Heather. What is the best way for us to get in touch with you and our audience to connect with you?
Well, they can
find me at www.heatherschooler60.com.
That'll connect them with me either via phone, email, or social media.
HeatherSchooler360.com. Everything you need to see right there. HeatherSchooler360.com. And can we get a copy of your book, Living Great on What You Make?
You can get that on Amazon.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Well, Heather, love having you on the show as our money guru, just keeping us all shored up and on track for the end of the year. We were just talking about closing up our books. And so if there's a little extra money on your books, do you recommend we make a big fat check to our favorite charity?
I think that that's a fabulous way to end the year off on a positive note.
Absolutely. And, even as we were talking in the office earlier, Angel, if our listeners have businesses and they have not selected a charity of their choice, it's a great opportunity to go ahead and think of, who would you like to bless, and let your customers, with every investment in you, turn that out to them as well.
It could be the differentiator if they know that a part of what your revenue and part of what they are spending with you is going back to help a local charity. They just want to give back to the community. And so are you finding that companies are being more charitable? They're finding more charities to connect to? Heather, is this a trend that you're seeing with companies?
Absolutely. And I think along with sustainability, giving back has become very important to charities, and it's just become very important to communities in general. So this is actually the biggest time of year for giving, where most charities, just like most stores see the most sales, most charities will see the most giving. So
there you go.
HeatherSchooler360.com. Heather Schooler, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. Happy holidays.
America's home for positive business talk. You're listening to the Experience Pros Radio Show. Contact them on the web